Hi, welcome back to Dow Twang. I'm Dave. Missed last week on here, didn't I? And many folks I've talked to about this. We had a death in the family, and I won't get too, you know, personal with this on here today. But just real quick, it was a big one. So you can kind of fill in the blanks there. But you know, kind of a life changing thing, and everything's fine. It made sense in the natural order of things, and it's just been a lot of traveling and stuff back and forth from my home in Kentucky back over here to Missouri. So good to be back. I've been here, been doing lessons and stuff, for the last couple weeks, but just with everything going on, really needed to take a little bit of extra time. So, and if I'm kind of behind on reaching out to people and answering messages and stuff, then we'll get caught up. But really, thank God we have our music and our friends and our family and the things that support us when we really need it. So, how about some jam twang today? I got a little backing track here. It's a kind of almost sounds like a I Know You Rider kind of transition section from China Cat, Sunflower, or something like that, if you're familiar with a lot of Grateful Dead stuff. Um, that kind of feeling, it's just a G, then to an F to a C. So it's like, right. And I started off doing this, I almost just did a G because you could, if you got a looper or something and, can't make, I understand sometimes everybody doesn't have the same equipment and things or whatever. And so it's not like something you have to do, but if at all possible, set something up where you have a looping pedal, or something on some software on your tablet or something where you can make a quick backing track of your own or a loop and jam over. It's just going to be so useful every day when you're practicing. The backing tracks and YouTube stuff, I'll put a little bit of this one down below here. It's just drums and rhythm guitar. But try to get in the habit of producing that stuff for yourself at the speed that you need, and it fits in with your style, and relatively inexpensive compared to a lot of gear. So we're going to jump right in here. Now the idea here is we did a lot of stuff with these triads and arpeggios and stuff lately, and I've gotten a lot of really good feedback. It's really helping me, stay, I think, on course with, what people really want to see and hear and talk about. So today we're going to go through this, and we're going to be looking at triad shapes and kind of the rhythmic aspect of it, being transferred over to the single note stuff. So here's a really quick example. Let's say we just take this G triad. Kind of, I guess I better, wake up a little bit or something, right? So there's that G triad. Then I went up to an F shape here, or a kind of a C shaped cage thing, but an F chord because of its location, and then a C. Okay. All right. And then, of course, different places on the neck for that sort of thing. What if I started up here with this shape I just used for the F, but for G? Okay. And in a minute, we'll start talking about how we're going to kind of separate those notes, but still maintain and preserve that feeling of that rhythm. And that's going to help your motion and your contouring of your phrasing and stuff. okay, but while still using a lot of nice chord tones, but just not the whole triad all the time, in every instance. So another one could be, what if we started with the G here, right? We could truncate that. And so there's some licks right there that start to really, do this business of, unraveling the shape and making it into a line. All right, so see how those shapes are still there. Okay. The F and the C go by so quickly that you don't always have to address it if you're jamming along with this kind of track, right? You could just stay in G Mixolydian, or play a lot of G chord tone stuff with extension. And there's that set. Okay, not going to harp on the arpeggio stuff today as much as I did last time, right? Because we've stressed the importance of that, right? And it's just part of your practice. Don't spend all day on it, get bored by it, but do a little bit of it each day. And when you start on something like this, G7, it's the kind of the theory of it's kind of like the 5 chord, like the 5 4 1. It also could be looked at as like a 1 with a flat 7 major triad substitute. Don't. Here's what's going to work on this: G7, right? And that's that seventh, that flat 7 for G. That F is going to be right there when you need your. Okay. So here's a few other examples. And what I did in that intro is I went kind of up the neck and back, doing a lot of the same. I tried to play the same sort of cadence, right? One of the channels that I really like a lot is Jack Rutch. I hope I'm saying his name right. It's Rutch, I think. Could be Rooch. I don't really know. The guy's great. He's a great player. He's got a great ear. He's really stylish. But one of the things that I've noticed about his channel that I really have gotten some takeaway from in doing this myself is to when he demonstrates things, he'll stay in the same cadence, right? He'll do like a couple of different licks, but they'll kind of all add up the same way in time or something. So check his channel out. I just like to give him props because it's a really cool channel. Goes at a nice pace and does a lot of things that I try to do. He's a more elevated musician, right? But it's a cool vibe, and if you like that jazzy blues stuff, especially, and R&B stuff, it's great. So, tell him I've never talked to him or anything, but it'd be cool to talk to him sometime or chat with him in the comments or something. So that's what I did in that intro. I kind of stayed in that. So when I went to play some of the single note licks, there's an F. F out for the F chord, then I go down to that third of the C, that E. And then right back to that G triad. Okay. Now, along with that flat 7, see how that 6 is in there? So it's like major pentatonic. There's the 6, there's the 9. Well, we're going to mess around and add enough stuff here that we're going to be playing a 7-note scale pretty quick, right? If I put the 2 in there, right? Instead of just going from the root to the third. That's Mixolydian scale. Okay, played a wrong note. Keep going, correct it, right? Your ear will correct it. Trust your ear. Immerse yourself in that G Mixolydian sound, right? Then throw your backing track on, and we're just going to kind of go slow, and not going to do a whole lot of note for note stuff here, but I want to show you how to move around some of the positions, applying the same business that we just talked about. And this is a short phrasing on this loop, so you can just jump in wherever you want. So now we're up here. Okay, now some of you caught that right away. Here, hold on. There we go. Went up there and did a little pentatonic, here and there, little minor pentatonic. Wait a second, you said major. I mean, that looks more like the Mixolydian, true. But, is a minor blues scale lick going to work in there over a dominant 7 chord? Probably, right? Let's test it out just in a real simple way. I'll do like some triad stuff with the G and put that 6 and the 9 in there, and then I'll reach up and play a minor third and play a little blues lick. Okay, so I was trying to, demonstrate what I said I was going to do. So, at the same time, I'm just kind of doing what I want to hear, So I got it in there, though. After I did a little major pentatonic, so I did the triad. Right, and I separated the notes like we were saying. I looked for that line. I pulled that line out of there, that nice melodic chord tone line using those triad tones. And then, there's a major pentatonic. Right? At some point, I went something like, I moved right over to, if you don't recognize that as being, a minor pentatonic pattern right away, that's okay. But to hear that shift in the sound. Right? So the point there is, this is more about the triad thing today. But when you're playing and you keep it diverse, keep that stuff that you're always doing, or seventh chords and stuff with the blues scale, integrate that right away, right? It's not there's no rule about for that, right? So that G, both of those pentatonics, mingle it in there. You'll see you'll get some sweet, interesting stuff. So, and there's a couple of places to finish this off where we're using the triads. Let's say we go for the G. Okay, down here we went. Play that same kind of idea up here. We might go. Okay, but let's say we're kind of, sometimes you might just want to keep moving down, and I do that. I might go. Right. Here's a nice little move, and because you're following that down, you see that that's the F. You see that that's the one of the notes in the C, and it's kind of just a natural thing to do to follow that visually and use that string. But here's a nice little move. Okay, I'm going to slow that down. So the note is from F to E, but I go up to the E, and that gets me going in another direction, right? Depending on what all's going on. So let's say I went. Okay, so the lesson there is that there's always an option on a guitar, on a string instrument like this, right? You can go down on the same string or up on the same string, or you can go to a higher string and move down, or a lower string and move up. That's a mouthful. But you know what I mean. There's always an option. There, see? G, F, C, but it's also to that C. And that's a really nice, kind of slick way of moving up the neck, right? Now that we put that under the scope a little bit, go back and watch that intro again. And you'll see that that's the thing that I'm really demonstrating over and over. And along with mixing in those pentatonic and blues scale stuff. Keep it slow, make your own loop. Let me know how this goes. I hope you enjoy it. Good to be back. See you next time.